really starting to like this go-karting thing.
Yeah, me too. Oh my gosh, can I show you this cute dress I just got?
Yes, of course. Oh my goodness, it's so cute.
I just love shopping.
I love shopping too.
Oh my god.
Wait, do you guys say you like shopping?
Of
Yeah.
course.
Well, dude, I have the perfect place to do that at. ShopPayCara.com. At ShopPayCara.com, you can get free shipping on orders $200 or more. You can get anything you want, like MXC rims, gloves, rib vests, shoes, anything that you need, all at ShopPayCara.com.
Who is he talking to?
No idea.
But we're gonna have to check it out. Sounds like a great deal.
Sure does.
Cat food marketing. $9.99 a month.
Dude, Caleb, wake up. Dude, we're live in 5 minutes. Let's go, come on. What are you doing?
Dude, I'm so sorry. Xander had me in a cat food marketing meeting till like 2 a.m. last night.
Come on, man.
Do you have anything I can drink?
Dude, I got the perfect thing for you. Perico, it's a healthy energy drink alternative.
Perico, non-GMO, gluten-free, kosher, magnesium, B12, B6,
Yeah, it's good.
B5, biotin, and zero sugar? Pericazo! Try Perico, made with natural ingredients, organic caffeine, and supports your metabolism. Try the new official energy drink of Kart Chaser.
Gee, looks like we're missing the engine. What the hell am I supposed to tag?
What do you mean? It's my Greyhound. It's all I need.
Where's the rest of it?
It doesn't matter. It's a Greyhound.
You gotta make way. Okay, you're good.
I'm sitting by here with Kyle, our race winner. Tell me how you did it. You were blazing fast out there, and I mean, you don't even have a go-kart, man. Tell me about it.
Yeah, you know, Norberg, Schmorberg, the Greyhound-powered Greyhound was great today. You know, it makes the difference. And the team's been working really hard back at the shop, and, you know, just shout out Greyhound.
Thank you, Kyle. How the f did you just win?
Doesn't matter. It's a Greyhound.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself, quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
First of all, good morning to all of you at home. Good morning to you, Danny. And to talk about the weekend, right? Huge changing conditions. Yesterday, very hot, desert-like, and today, high mile-an-hour winds. Just talk to you about the conditions this morning and about yesterday as well. You went fastest in the happy hour session.
Yeah, it was good. I'm not sure where we finished this warm-up. The go-kart felt really nice in these conditions also. The headwind going into the first chicane is pretty insane. I was overslowing the whole session just because you couldn't believe how much faster you could go because of that headwind. You know, go-karts don't really produce a lot of downforce, but with this much wind, it feels like the go-kart has downforce going against the wind. But it's a really cool tailwind down the front straight, so for sure seeing the highest mile an hour we've seen all weekend. So yeah, it's the desert. What do you expect, right? It could be snowing, it could be raining, it could be 110 degrees like it was yesterday. So yeah, it's my first time here. Track's quite fun. I quite enjoy it so far. Very flowy racetrack. No curves, unfortunately, but so far it's going really well. GFC has one of the best programs, if not the best shifter program in the country. SweetTech Racing engines are just, makes my life a lot easier. And yeah, I'm just so grateful to be here. Every time I can, you know, for my busy schedule, I try to come here because this is what I love the most. Karting is the funnest sport for me in the world, and yeah, so far it's going really well.
And talk to me a little bit about that, right? You started off the year in Daytona, then Sebring, and last week you were over with Ricky and Jordan Taylor doing a little bit of karting, and that's really the only bit of, you know, time you've had in a kart since I think last year in Indianapolis. How good is it feel to be back this weekend?
No, for sure, right? I've lost a lot of weight, so you know, I'm 155 pounds, so the beat up of my body is a lot higher than it used to be. I used to have a little bit of cushion. There's no cushion anymore. So that's the biggest thing coming back is like the welts on my back and my ribs because I don't use a rib protector, never have. That's been the toughest part. But again, GFC, SweetTech, and my mechanic Diego make it really easy for me, giving me such good equipment. I could just focus on myself, hitting my marks, and yeah, like I said, so far really good. P1 happy hour. I think we're right up there in the mix this morning, so really happy, excited for qualifying. And yeah, we'll see where we can finish.
Talk to you about Super Pole a little bit, right? Because it's only 2 laps. Obviously, you have to get there first in the fast 12, but how do you kind of adjust with conditions like this? A lot cooler than they were yesterday when you talk about tire temperature and getting those tires up to temp.
No, for sure. I think that's critical. This is a very low tire pressure racetrack, especially yesterday how hot it was, just to try to keep energy off the tire. Very high speed, so you're putting a lot of lateral load on the tire itself. So yeah, getting that combination of exhuming the tire, but at the same time not overcooking it, because you have to remember that tire you're going to have to use for over 40 laps, right? 2 heat races and a pre-final. So yeah, you want to go P1 in Super Bowl, but at the same time you don't want to overdo it. So yeah, I think a combination of the right tire pressure, the build up to the tire, will give you that pole position.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
Dale wins the Wisconsin Grand Prix. James Overbeck on start number 2 gets win number 1 in OKN Stars.
On track or off, Brandon Jarsekrak Racing delivers elite performance. Led by 4-time Pro National Champion Brandon Jarsekrak, our team masters driver coaching, data-driven analysis, and mechanical precision at every national event. Contact us today at BrandonJarsekrakRacing.com.
You already voiced over the track map, or is it a...
Wait a long time since the SKUSA Super Nationals in Las Vegas. For those of you joining us here at home and for those of you here with us watching from around the world, the Superkarts USA Pro Tour, 3 race weekends on tap, and opening weekend is finally here. The stars from North American karting joined by the best from all around the world. Tucson, Arizona, here at Musselman Honda Circuit, ready for action with qualifying, kicking things off with KA Master, myself, Xander Clements, alongside me, the voice of Superkarts USA and the SKUSA Super Nationals, Rob Howden. Rob, it's been a long time since we've been back here at Musselman Honda Circuit, presented by Kart Class. Here's your track preview. Why don't you take us around this 12-turn, 0.8 of a mile circuit?
Big long front straightaway indeed. Xander coming down into turn number 1, that left-hand hairpin. A lot of room to run off on the outside of that corner leading into the 2-3 combination. You got to get through there cleanly. Late in the entry, you're going to be late on the exit. Down into turn number 4, one of the top passing opportunities. A lot of over-unders in that corner leading back over to the double apex right-hand turn 5. Through the S's of 6, 7, 8, and 9. 9 crucial to get out there because, Xander, with the wind we have now, we're obviously going to talk about the weather here momentarily, but a big tailwind coming out of turn number 10 down into the 11-12 combination. The final set of corners, you'll see a lot of guys attacking on the inside down to turn number 11.
It's going to be a racetrack that has certainly been, blown away. The winds here at Musselman Honda Circuit have changed things drastically, Rob. We have seen nothing like this in our just over a week stay thus far here in the desert. Last weekend, record temperature. It's been a record month for the entire state of Arizona, and Tucson specifically hasn't dropped below freezing, was upwards of 100 degrees. Air temps last weekend for the RMC Americas Trophy was upwards of 140 degrees surface temps. But it was nothing like the winds we're seeing. Gusts and a full wind advisory in effect here in the desert, upwards of 15 miles an hour, and it certainly took a beating to the paddock and has dusted this racetrack off.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the feedback we've got for the drivers who've been on track first and foremost. The Masters drivers are out as the first session of the day. Very dirty racetrack. Not surprising with the wind blowing throughout the evening. David Cole giving us some insight, talking to some of the drivers as well, that offline, even during the early sessions, was tough. Big wind at the back, as I said, coming out of turn number 10 all the way down to the 11-12 combination. We're thinking heavy winds, Xander, probably till about 2 o'clock this afternoon. And again, as you said, high temperatures have been kind of the order here in Tucson, but it's a 30-degree drop from yesterday afternoon into the high 60s right now. We do expect to get into the high 80s again, but a lot cooler right now today as we get set to go qualifying than it was yesterday when we were practicing.
Yeah, it is a night and day difference from what happy hour was. That doesn't mean it wasn't an accurate read, though, and it certainly gave us a bit of a glimpse into what to expect here, specifically from the KA Master Division getting set to roll green. This is the biggest turnout they've had in quite some time. The Winter Series was strong for them. It has been in years past, but last year, Rob, they didn't even have enough entries to make it to the SKUSA Pro Tour class structure. Unfortunately, inversely, the Master Shifter category that just had enough to make it to round 1 last year in Texas at just over the double-digit marker doesn't quite have enough, which has a couple of wily veterans playing in the Pro Shifter category that is sold out at 45+ in total. It was 47 names on the list yesterday. Here's a look at what's coming your way, folks, in order. Qualifying on tap first up for KA Master. That's about to go any moment. Then following them, we'll go to KA Senior. Pro Shifter is the headliner on the weekend with a single round compared to the doubleheader for everybody else. But today they run middle of the lineup because they go out twice. 2 groups for Pro Shifter qualifying in an alternate format for everybody else. You and I have loved this. Taking a page out of the NTT IndyCar Series book with a 2-stage knockout qualifying format. Even and odd drivers from the results of happy hour yesterday split in 2 groups. Top 6 transfer to their Super Bowl, split up by the Micro Swift qualifying session to give them a couple of moments to scale them and do minor tech inspection. Then KA Senior X30 Junior Mini Swift, and then bat and cleanup on today and tomorrow will be Pro X30. They'll roll just shy of 11 a.m. And you can see them right now wrapping up their warm-up session that just concluded. Paulie Massimino fastest at a 50.207 over Aiden Ingrata, who, Rob, obviously you weren't with us last weekend, but I know you and DC were covering it, and he was here. Aiden had everybody covered, and if anyone were to tell me, or maybe you as well at the beginning of this year, over all of the 125cc senior single-speed mains, the RMC America's Trophy, the Winter Trophy, the SKUSA Winter Series, that the winningest driver with 3 main event checkers to his belt now would be Aiden Ingrata. I think that would have been certainly a heck of a win in the odds tables at Vegas.
It's interesting because, Aiden's been a great young driver coming up, right? Tried to make the move into the USF Juniors program, had some budget issues there, and kind of put his focus back on karting again. I don't want to say he's underrated because I think we've always known he has the ability to put it together, but when you get on a roll and you get some confidence and momentum like he's had to start the 2026 season, I think he's going to be one of the drivers, obviously, to beat here this weekend.
No doubt. Aiden Ingrata last weekend for the first of the 2 main events had Paulie right on his heels for nearly the entire 20-lapper. That'll be 22 laps for them when they get back out on the racetrack this weekend for their Pro X30 main event. But not a single wheel wrong, and I think that on this layout is, especially today, going to be put to the test because the circuit here has a phenomenal flow to it. It races exceptionally well. This S's section here in the higher speed and heavier weight classes like KA Master a little bit, but especially in Pro X30 and Pro Shifter, will have some aero wash that we've touched on in years past with the continued aerodynamic developments on the race karts. But the wind blowing all that topsoil and dirt and dust and debris back on track for the leader. Last weekend, Rob, I was blown away at the number of casual defensive moves or passes down the inside into turn 4 and turn 11, and the driver just not only blows the corner but ends up 10 feet off in the runoff.
Yeah, I saw that when I watched a lot of the stuff that you guys had out and talking to David Cole as well, that you'd make that move to the inside and the car just literally wouldn't bite at all on the end of the corner. You push back off, the over-under coming back, and you can even see it here. If you have a look there, you see some of that dirt getting blown across, the winds as high as they are. That's going to make things interesting. I said 2 o'clock maybe stop the wind, so the main events later in the day potentially aren't going to worry about that. But I'm telling you, when we go into pre-final racing, you're going to have to be pretty precise making a move to the inside anywhere.
You're going to have to really pick your moment of when you go, and equally be mindful of the drivers in front of you if they go side by side, because there were many times that down into 11 and 12, the guy in third ended up getting the better of him, and you've got to really commit to it because you're going to have to go to around the outside in turn number 12 more than likely if they all wash out. And if you're not there enough, we saw a couple of collisions. One that nearly went all the way to our camera station halfway down the inside of the front stretch when 2 guys got together banging tires because someone, again, had attempted that around the outside move in 12 with a crossover and didn't quite have enough position for the car on the inside to see and know that he had someone on his left. But focusing in here, a couple of minutes underway in our first few laps in a read in KA Master. Phil DeLeo, one of the throwbacks, a superstar from a decade ago in the single-speed senior classes here in KA Master. He's had a handful of KA Master starts over the last couple of seasons, Rob. He's, of course, based out here, and he is one of the smallest operations in the 250 entry paddock. Just a truck, a trailer will pop up, and he went top of the board yesterday.
Yeah, he and Josh Sarche over there, and I went over to talk to Phil DeLeo, who's got Hannah Greenmeyer working on the kart this weekend as well.
That?
I love it, and I just chatted with them, because Hannah's actually relocated. She lives in Glendale, Arizona, so they spent a lot of time out at PKRA at the track there, pushing each other around the racetrack. So some pretty good work being done by DeLeo, he and Greenmeyer on it. But yeah, you said throwback, right? You go back to the days of the Stars of Karting, CKI, and of course the Superkarts USA Pro Tour with what was then a young Phil DeLeo. It's crazy to me that to see him back, and again, that's what we get, right? When you're in the sport long enough, Xander, you'll do the same thing over the next couple of decades for you. These kids that are going to be racing in the micro and mini, you're eventually probably going to see them in a master's class as well.
Yeah, you don't got to remind me. My crew is very, very on it about letting me know how many years I've got into it. For us, of course, this is the beginning of the regular season, and we're so happy for everyone joining us so far to be bringing you our 5th consecutive full year of coverage. Our first year began all the way back in 2022 with 27 events. I've joked with everybody, Rob, I've lost count of how many races that we have on tap on the year. It certainly keeps us busy. We're actually doubled up this weekend. Right now live as well, a club race, the Indy Karting Challenge opener at Whiteland Raceway Park, also underway. For now, in KA Master Qualifying, DeLeo second, though. Bailey Murphy, another Arizona native, to the top with BJR, helping him out this weekend. 10th and a half up. We'll wait here as the last lap's underway to see if anyone can go any faster. You can see Josh Sarche. He is down in 6th there. He's easy to spot in the blue and yellow comp cart. Scott Falcone in the white suit trying to go a little better across the line along with Mario Barrios. Sarche will improve, Barrios will improve, but Bailey Murphy, even though he didn't have to, does find a little more speed, and he increases that margin to 2/10 to put himself on pole for later today.
Yeah, interesting. I was talking to Bailey yesterday, running for Brandon Jarsacrack Racing, and jumping on the OTK product. He's been on different karts over the years, but yeah, his first foray into the Masters category goes P1 with a 53.707. Not surprised to see DeLeo up there. Barrios has been a long-time front runner. Sarche and Daly. Not a good final lap for Scott Falcone. He was in the top 5, but falls, I believe, outside the top 10 after the final lap in that qualifying run.
Yeah, not ideal there on the final circuit. And again, you saw a lot of them packed up. That'll probably be the case for the remaining couple of classes in KA 100 and Mini and Micro as well, and probably even an X30 Junior. I would have to imagine they're going to be fighting for a toe lap. I don't think we'll see that too much in shifter, but certainly a lot to note when they get ready to go out on the racetrack. But this big straightaway here, this run down to turn number 11, as you can see, a ton of wind still could affect it, but there's so many different major straight or kind of run points on the racetrack. The run down to turn 1, the run to 11, 90 degrees different. Either way, the wind ends up blowing somewhere. We're going to have a major headwind or a major tailwind that could play a factor. And we've got a bird's eye view of it here with our station on the far end of the racetrack. Kudos to Kaysen, who's up there 2 stories up to get all the angles that we can from the circuit. And you can see as well that the track development in the S's there. What an improvement it was even from a week ago with another couple of days of putting Avinco rubber down, and equally a setback with how much more marbling has developed offline. And I think for qualifying, when you're fighting in a group like that and you've only got 2 laps probably to hit the money lap, getting past at all is going to be hugely detrimental. It takes a full lap to get all that stuff off the tires.
And that's one of the things about these short qualifying sessions. No time to go out and mess around. You can't really spend a lap and a half trying to find someone to race with. You got to get off the grid with the guys you want to run with. And like you said, the group you're with, because you're going to get potentially, those 4 laps in. So you've got to get the banker lap in early, lap number 2, lap number 3. And like you said, Xander, I think straight up, you make a mistake, get offline, drop a wheel somewhere, it's going to be hard to come back and potentially put a lap down.
2 groups up for KA 100 Junior. They're a little bit bigger in total size than KA 100 Senior. This weekend, 30 deep for them. That means that it'll be top 15 and bottom 15 per the usual structure. A number of the classes will follow suit and end up split in 2 groups. Shifter, of course, Pro X30, of course, KA Senior sold out house as well. They're 50 deep, so there'll be 25 and 25 of them. Plenty of room still on this circuit, 12 turns, 0.8 of a mile. But again, someone does that, and it could be 1 out of 25, and then all of a sudden you've got dust and debris onto your tires because they just drug it back on. And that was one of the Barrel Arts, I believe that might have been one of the rookies that had just moved up running for PSL Karting, trying to confirm the name, but I believe that might have been the young man from Panama.
Might have been Kai Park, actually, 878.
Oh, no, you're right.
Yeah, 878 at Kai Park. Nicholas Orbezo, fastest driver in the final practice yesterday, a 52.401. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to go back and look quickly at the times of where we are compared to yesterday afternoon in the high heat. Cooler temperatures today, obviously, for all the drivers here in qualifying. But, yeah, Orbezo coming off a fantastic month in February where we gave him the EKN Driver of the Month, winning across a couple of different racing series. So, again, taking that momentum coming in. Colton Schniegerberg was quick as well. Nico Katowski was right there. Ashton Woon. But again, with a couple of qualifying groups here, and Xander, as you said, a much wildly different racetrack than they had yesterday afternoon. They got a feel for it in warm-up this morning. Again, a really good opportunity to get a feel for the track and the temps. How they kind of approach this very short qualifying session will be intriguing to watch.
And typical for what I feel like we've seen already this year. While we do see a little bit of re-racking there of one driver jumping out to the inside. So this group trying to first one to get cut down below the loop, and I think Braden Wagner is the current leader on the first one out. The GFC Formula Works seems a little bit high for them to go 18th and then 19th as the cutoff. I wonder if a couple might have reset, and I think indeed they did. Hudson Hidalgo was 18th, and then Sebastian Hauser was 17th. He's out on track in this group as well. That was Clayton Stiles, who I believe was pulling off to the inside, so he was 16th. Darren Kidd might have been the lucky one just to barely make it above the line, and it was by 12 thousandths of a second. It was about a half second off of where the leaders were yesterday. So for this group, if we compare them to what they did or the best of them yesterday, it was a 53.428. The overall quick time was obviously a touch better than that.
I got it here, 54.401.
52.401.
52.401.
And my mistake, it wasn't a 53.4, it was a 52.95. I was looking at the previous lap they had. The best lap on the session, 52.9 and then a 52.4. So that's how far off we are here on the opening couple laps. Granted, we know that right now, going down through turn number 1, 53.9, this is still only just their first lap bringing it up to speed.
And fresh rubber to come out here as well. So remember those first couple laps and what could be a bit of a slick condition with the dirt coming around the racetrack, caused, of course, by all the wind that we have here and we'll likely have until around 2 o'clock this afternoon. Again, every once in a while you get a shot of that breeze, it's just the dust getting blown across the racetrack. I got to think every time you come to a corner in a new lap, you're going to find potentially different conditions. So really putting the onus on the drivers here to make sure they hit their marks. All the apexes got to get hit here. You get pushed too wide, you find yourself out in that dirty part of the racetrack. You're going to scuttle a lap pretty quickly.
And I think right now, going into group number 2, that while there were a few that reset and kind of put themselves in this pack back here, group 1 will look drastically different where they're fighting for that toe. And sometimes that ends up biting some of the fast guys. It's only about usually 4 to 8, maybe a quarter to half that group that ends up getting the toe lap when they all are aiming for it. The other half end up getting bottled up in the 2 money laps where the tires are really built up the pressure and heat. And that's where the door is open of opportunity for Braden Wagner, Hudson Hidalgo, who are top of this group, to punch their way higher than where they stacked up in Friday practice or maybe even where they were or where they are on raw pace, just because of the shenanigans that we are anticipating to head our way here when Group 1 hits the racetrack, because they go out in order, and the fastest guy probably got a toe lap to go fastest and is going to try and replicate that, doesn't want to go on his own. So as the checkers fly here for Group 2, let's see if anything else changes across the line. Wagner picks up about 2/10 on his best, gets to a 53 flat.
Hauser jumps to second there.
Big lap out of Nathan Ramirez. He'll go all the way to the top.
Hauser went from second back to P5 as everybody moving. Again, you've got the wind in your face coming out of 1 all the way down through the 2-3 kind of chicane there into 4, in your face through the S's, but at the downhill run from 10 down to 11 and 12, it's at your back as it is coming out of 12 through to turn number 1. So again, you talked about the draft in the right spots, but one driver onto the top here right now, Nathan Ramirez, a 53.055, fastest driver on the racetrack. That'll be the mark that the remainder of this group aiming to hit when they roll out onto the track here to cap off qualifying for KA100 Junior.
So what that tells us, it's only about a 10th off, if that, compared to yesterday in final practice. Couple of last-second worries there on the grid, but looks like we're all good. That was one of the HRT driver development entries. Looked to be Tyron Scott. This is Travis Pettit. He was 8th yesterday. We were looking at Santi Orioli in that Velocity Sodi, 6th yesterday in happy hour. Nathan Golseth a little better, along with teammate Ashton Woon. Nico Katowski was 3rd, who's had a banner year, he and his younger brother, to start the season. And Colton Schniegenberg, the Winter Series wasn't too kind. His home state races weren't amazing results-wise for him. Speed was good. Speed was exceptional for Colton last weekend, and it looks like it has held up with him going 2nd in the final practice. He's there on the black and yellow helmet in the RPM Tony Kart. He's dropping back, obviously, but Nico Orbezo is up and away and trying to just not be a part, it looks like, of anything going on behind him. Look at this. He's already more than out of the draft, as Ashton Woon now takes command of this group here with Nico Katowski behind him. And we'll see if Orbezo waits up. He's obviously still warming the tires, and he's going to take a moment. And this is what we were talking about. This is what we were expecting.
Yeah, a little more strategy being kind of played out. Where do I want to be? Who do I want to be with? Hey, if I think I'm fast, I don't want to be the rabbit out there allowing everybody else to chase me as well. So a little bit of moves being laid out here early. Again, only the first, essentially, outlap here on the racetrack as well. How many laps did we get in that first session? I didn't get a chance to see if they got 4 or if they were able to sneak the 5th lap in, but
only 4.
Only
4 across the board.
Okay,
but again, it is a true full outlap here, right? If we compare it to Speed Sports Racing Part for the Winter Nats last year, the Winter Series, they hit the timing loop straight out the pit lane. So there kind of gave us a false positive of getting to 5 in some of the classes that it was only 4. Here, you've got the full distance, and of course, when you take your time on the outlap like these kids did, that's where the back half of the field might be at risk of only getting 3 in. So looks like they're all pretty much in this one big group, 1 or 2 stragglers at the back. And we'll see who got a good opening lap here when the pylon populates for this first lap at speed. Nico Katowski crosses the line. His opening lap will slot him 15th. And Cameron Johnson all the way at the back of the pack. The only one not really playing too many games, actually slammed in the middle. There he is in the blue, black, and yellow Nash machine, making a pass into turn 2. He's quickest of the group so far.
I think that's a good indication of the racetrack and how it is going to evolve. You're not going to be able to come out here as one of the fast guys. Maybe you look at the driver who is at the very top, Nico Orbezo. You're not going to bang that lap out on lap number 1. It is going to take some time. Again, it's only 60-something degrees. Where are we now? We're not even to 70 degrees now, so it's going to take a little more time to get the heat into the Avincos. If it was 90 degrees, you may be able to get grip out of the gate, but it's going to take a little bit of time for these drivers to get these Avincos up to temperature, then go to work.
It's Wyatt Kroger down there at the bottom corner on the factory cart trying to drop back into the battle pack here. Let's see as Santiago Orioli now leads us across the line in chronological order. Lap time-wise, Orbezo going to go, back past him and faster than him. He goes to 9th, Tristan Murphy up to 8th, and he'll quickly re-rack right as he makes that pass back into 2, and that's going to back this whole group up here on lap 3. Which could put, again, Cameron Johnson in the driver's seat as they try to work by Wyatt Kroger, who blends into him, and he's going to have cold tires, and now it's going to get wild. Look at them, 2x2 here, all backing up.
Yeah, a couple other drivers getting out of it again, looking to find out who they want to be behind. There's Katowski there as well in the 892. So, again, a lot of work being done to try to position yourself where you want to be. Do you want to be out front? I don't know that everybody wants to be that lead guy pushing the wind, coming out of 1 all the way down to 4 and all the way through the S's as well.
So that means that lap 4 is going to be the only lap for anyone to dethrone Nathan Ramirez, I think. Travis Pettit might have a decent one this lap. He didn't seem to get held up too much, but yeah, nobody better. So this is it. Everyone has put all their chips on lap 4, the final lap for the fast group. Right now, 5 of the slow group drivers are still holding strong over top. No, more than that. In total, 7. Back to Jet Whipple. Mixed up Sebastian Johnson with Cameron Johnson. He's down in 11th. Sebastian is in 6th. So the top 7 are still from Group 1.
And Xander Pettit all the way down in 18th. So the guy leading this group right now, P18 on that 3rd lap. So this is the final one for these drivers. They're going to hang on to with the speed that Pettit can pull out of that RPG machine. Down the back straightaway. Here we come out of turn number 9 and 10 down to 11 and 12. Let's see what they have pace-wise. Ramirez still looking good from the first group at a 53.055.
Colton Stegenberg had a thought about sending it on Tristan Murphy. He thought better of it. They're all going to stay in line, so this 5-pack should be good to start to populate to the top. But right now, nobody's gone faster than Ramirez or Braden Wagner, and it will hold from Group 1 by cooling the tires off and re-racking themselves on lap 3 for everyone out of the fast group. The best is only 3rd. Nico Orbezo leapfrogs a handful. Alexander Savage from Group 1 still holds for P4. Hudson Hidalgo and Sebastian Hauser 10th and 11th. We have a huge shakeup our way based on happy hour results. Orbezo still, again, the best of the 2, but Nathan Ramirez, Braden Wagner turning their weekend around with a huge start on Sunday. They were 19th in happy hour and 21st, and they'll be leading us to green in KA Juniors pre-final. That's huge.
Yeah, I like seeing stuff like that. You know, they did what they needed to do in qualifying, able to benefit off of that. Tough one for Travis Pettit, but he was 18th up to 8th on that last lap, so benefited to get himself back up into the top 10.
There you go, folks. 2 groups lined, ready for racing here at round 1 of the Superkarts USA Pro Tour. Next up, round 1 of Pro Shifter Qualifying. The stars 45 deep, ready to get after it.
You have to fight to pull ahead, to find your edge, to do whatever it takes to make you 1/10 of a second faster, smarter, more committed than the other guy, because you've got the kind of passion that can overcome the impossible. And we've got the most powerful performance race fuel available to help you do it. Sunoco Race Fuels. Take the lead.
Kyle, what are you doing?
It's got my new Greyhound seat.
You don't even have a cart.
Doesn't matter. I have a Greyhound.
Who the f is Kyle Cuthbertson? Doesn't even have a go-kart.
Doesn't matter.
Cuthbertson through on Turney. Turney in the dirt.
Welcome to the future of kart race preparation. Kart Sim Pro North America. Featuring laser-scanned North American kart circuits and precision-tuned kart physics developed using real telemetry, dyno and tyre data, Kart Sim Pro North America delivers the most advanced and realistic kart simulation experience available today. Whether you're training for race day, refining your lines, or shaving tenths off your personal best, Kart Sim Pro gives you pro-level insight without leaving your home. Trusted by world champions, coaches, and karting enthusiasts alike, this is where virtual practice translates into real-world performance. Experience the thrill, the challenge, and the edge. Kart Sim Pro North America. Use code CHASER20 to get 20% off today.
We are back. Pro Shifter, Group 1 of 2, headed out onto the racetrack now for qualifying. This is the off-pole group headed out first. Jay Irwin, second quick in happy hour yesterday. The margin to try and transfer up and into Superpole will be 6. That'll be the money spot. So the even-numbered drivers from final practice. Jay Irwin, second overall on the board. Quarantine Russo, solid performance yesterday. Michael Avancino, equally quick. I believe he should be in this group if the official results were as they were on track, but we'll confirm the rest of the runners on circuit there. Another driver to keep of note, Mateus Morgado. He ended up 8th in final practice. There he is, sporting the new Velocity Racing Sodi suit. To match them, the Maranello USA boys, they've got a new livery for us to learn as well. But the 5 plate, the former #1 plate, down the board, second half of the top 10. But he was in the top 3 in practice 4 yesterday, Rob. So we know there's been speed. And early on Thursday, it looked like he had the car to beat.
What I find interesting is before we came on here, we watched the warm-up this morning, Xander, and you and I both said there's going to be some big names that aren't going to make Superpole because there's a lot of guys that have stepped things up. They were top 10 there this morning. And again, you expect the guy like Morgado to be there. He'll dial things in. But there's going to be a number of big-name guys that just are going to be on the outside looking in for that session.
AJ Myers looked better in the warm-up, but he was on the outside looking into the top 10 in happy hour. Speaking of them, it's an independent effort. He's pitting over with the Hoach Driver Development Group. His fiance, Kayla's older brother, Josh, the captain of that team with a number of entries this weekend, said he couldn't miss it. The Magic Kart USA boys, obviously we were able to give them a heartfelt tribute for the loss of the patriarch of the Magic Empire, Chaba Boyda Show, back at the Supernats. We'll see them in force at a handful of events this year, but AJ is representing them well as the lone blue, white, and orange machine here in the desert. And as the first laps come in, right now, Morgado indeed quickest. 48.98, Myers outside looking in. How about Ronnie White there with a big lap at the end? Rob, he didn't get to run the end of the practice day yesterday. He, along with Ruben Moya, were two drivers that were black flagged for avoidable contact over aggressive driving early in Friday. And that was probably, if I had to imagine from Ron, an old school message sent, and he paid the price losing a little bit of testing.
Yeah, I got a quick text from Ronnie as I was coming in yesterday. Somebody had punted him off the racetrack, gave a little Euro swerve on the straightaway coming back. And,
Quarantine Russo working through traffic, had a driver just slow down right in front of him. That's the 43 machine. So Quarantine Russo was the first out. The 43 just spun right in front of him. Who was that? That was Jesus Lopez on the Formula K. And that, right now, Quarantine Russo is on the inside edge, but he threw his hand up as he caught him at a terrible point. Lopez spun in front of everybody. And now we take a look here at the danger zone. Hunter Pickett inside looking in, or looking just barely. Half a tenth up on Gavin Bailiff, the reigning Winter Nats winner. The round one winner from last year is at the moment outside of the transfer zone to go to Super Pole. Lap 3 coming to us right now. Morgado still quickest. Let's see what Bailiff has. That is not enough at the moment. One more if they can get it here on the time charts. This will be the last chance for him.
Yeah, Morgado, Rousseau. Good run by Gage Korn, 10th yesterday. Gage Korn on the Maranello, up into 3rd right now.
Big lap for Gage. Hunter Pickett now gets bumped as well with Korn moving up and Michael Avancino moving into the top 6. So the number 36 machine, one of the veterans in the division, Hunter Pickett, needs about a half-tenth to knock out his teammate Jacob Gulick and transfer into the fight for the pole and the fight for the first 6 rows. At the moment, Morgado looks pretty safe. I'd be surprised if he stayed out and even ran this 4th lap. Jay Irwin, big lap out of him. That's well safe to the good in 2nd. Myers right now way outside the board. 15th, only 7th. AJ Myers just shy of the transfer zone.
Good lap there for Gulick as well, bumping himself up to P5. Got away from that 6th position. You do not want to be on the bubble right now. Drivers putting these final laps in. Gulick up into the 5th spot, only a couple of hundredths of a second behind Korn in P4.
And right now, it looked like they're all still getting one more. I don't think the checkers hit for this first group, so it's not done yet. Pro Shifter even qualifying. It was only 4 laps for the Ks, but these guys are a good bit faster. So the first half of the group might get all the way around. There's the 5-minute mark. Checkers out now, so everyone's going to get 5 total. Gulick is headed to pit lane. Jacob Gulick will have to sit and hold his breath there in 5th. Russo rebounds. Big lap for him to the top. Can Myers punch his way through to the top 6? He can! AJ Myers bumps Jacob Gulick out. Hunter Pickett moves forward as well. Michael Avancino gets bumped out. Gavin Bailiff, round 1 winner from last year, 9th in the group, will not make the transfer to Super Pole. But how about it for the young bucks? Jay Irwin, 17 years old. Gage Korn, I'm not even sure if that kid's turned 15 yet, Rob.
I don't think he has.
4th in the group. Big lap.
And I'll tell you, what do we talk about? There's Rousseau, Morgado, Irwin in, but look at the guys that aren't in right now. Jacob Gulick, Gavin Bailiff not in. Justin White, a number of drivers not transferring into Super Pole. But as Xander said, the youth movement looking good with Jay Irwin P3. Gage Korn will be thrilled with a P4 a run there in his group.
So there you have it, folks. 6 drivers making the transfer from the off-pole group going forward into qualifying for the overall off-pole session. It is 6 in total. Quarantine Russo has made the transfer along with Mateus Morgado, Jay Irwin, Gage Korn, Hunter Pickett, and AJ Myers on the final lap, able to move his way up the leaderboard, as was Pickett. Bumps out Gulick and Avancino.
Xander, I always love looking at the chassis. 6 different chassis in the top 6 as well. Ital Kart, Sodi Kart sitting in that 2nd spot, Irwin on the Burrell. Then you've got Korn on the Maranello, Pickett on the GFC, Myers on the Magic Kart. I love seeing different brands up front.
So look at that, folks. 47-2-1-2, shot across the bow. Quarantine Russo has transferred through, and there's a look at your 6. We'll see them again here shortly for the Super Pole session to fight for the top 12. Now we move on to the odd-numbered group here for qualifying. Danny Formal, the big guy, fast here in the desert at Musselman Honda Circuit yesterday. He is so stoked, Rob, to not only be here for round 1 of the SKUSA Pro Tour once again, but as things look, he is set for the entire campaign in 2026 and most importantly, a return to Las Vegas. He has not been able to make a SuperNat start since he won the darn thing in 2023. He cannot wait to get back to the streets here in the parking lot racing action, but boy, was he good yesterday.
How fun has it been to watch him in his sports car endeavors as well? Just fantastic to see that, but obviously great to see him come back here as well. The passion for driving his shifter kart still very high for Danny Formal, and a full season on the Pro Tour. I can feel how good he is. I feel the same way. I'm able to do the full Pro Tour this year as well. No conflicts on my end either. It'll be great to have Danny back, potentially trying to fight for another championship here in Superkarts USA.
Look at the dust across the track. He just had to work his way past there. So did Marin Kremers and Billy Musgrave, but indeed, closing a book on that with Danny while they begin their first lap. True motorsport success story, and great to see him representing the sport and equally being such a great ambassador for it. Every time he's asked about it, he talks his love of karting, his love of shifter karting. He's texting us all the time, so stoked watching the action and wanting to be back out there, and I know he's happy to be back behind the wheel.
Xander, you picked up where that dust and sand was running across. That was across the 2-3 chicane. It's really, coming all the way from the backside of the racetrack, so it's right across the exit of turn number 4, right through 2 and 3 as well. So those are, important parts of these racetrack where these drivers are going to have to be very, understanding that they may not have the grip that they want when they come into that corner. You still see that dust whistling around the racetrack here.
Yeah, the wind's almost kind of picking it up and pushing it down to turn number 1. So it's almost, at this point, I would guess, then a crosswind down the backstretch and a major tailwind down the front straightaway, which, again, the drivers here in Pro Shifter were talking about how much that has affected them. At the moment, when it has been a headwind down the backstretch, they are seeing record-level speeds here in Tucson. With the first lap underway, we don't really get much of a read in this group so far. Everybody looked like they were taking it easy. We saw the leaders have to wait. Going about the names that did go quicker on that opening lap, Marin's teammate Josh Conker paired up this year. He was quick as Dane Idelson there up the board, but now we'll see the fast ones start to go by. Kyle Wick, fastest this morning, fast again so far here in group number 2 with a 47.92. They're still 7/10 off what Russo was able to get down to. As we've watched him, he's hot on the heels of what looks to be Adrian Reneden and is going to have to pass him there into turn number 5. So as we work lap number 3 here work lap number 4 now, an update on the leaderboard. Kyle Wick, 47.633. Kyle Drysdale, impressive lap from him. Daniel Fellows 3rd. Vincenzo Saraceno 4th. Marin Kremers is 5th. The big guy is on the outside, and look how close they are, Rob. This lap will have to be big here on lap 4 for these guys. They'll get one more based on what we saw from that last session, and that seemed to be enough for a handful. Let's see what Formal and Kremers do. They look close together this time, and they'll go right to the top. Yes. Marin Kremers to 1st. Kyle Wick 2nd. Formal still only 4th. That is far from safe when you look how close the transfer zone is now. Micah Hendricks on the Croc Promotion USA machine into the zone.
I love seeing Mike up there. I talked to him yesterday about it. What could he get done here? And he is thrilled to be here, hoping maybe be top 20, top 15. But great move up to 6 right now. Kremers goes P1 with a 47.373, 85 thousandths up on Wick. Renowden running in 3rd. Formal, Musgrave, and Hendricks. Drysdale just on the outside looking in. Conker down in 10th spot. Keep going down to Valiente, who was top 10 yesterday. He's 13th right now as well. Work to be done by a number of these drivers here. Checker flag flying here now to end that 5th lap, Xander.
So here it is, checkers in the air. This is it. Marin Kremers inside the zone. Formal improves, Reneden into the zone. Billy Musgrave gets his way up and into the top 6. And Vincenzo Saraceno with a big final lap to make the transfer. He bumps Massimo Valiente out. Josh Conker, the 3-plate and round 2 winner from last year, out. Final 2 to the line. No changes back there. Overall, big time lap there out of Vincenzo Saraceno to join the likes of the top 6. How about it, folks? Danny Formal will go to Super Pole, as will Billy Musgrave, Kyle Wick, Adrian Reneden, and Marin Kremers. One heck of a return and a debut. He was fast all week. And I know there was probably those of you that may have forgotten. That is a stark reminder of the world champ and the 2-time SKUSA Pro Tour Pro Shifter champ that he has not lost an inch of speed, Rob.
Yeah, look at that last lap, too, for Vincenzo Saraceno, 12 thousandths of a second quicker than Massimo Valiente. Valiente had the spot, but Saraceno with a great final lap, leveraging lap number 5. 12 thousandths the difference between going to Super Pole and being back there in 7th position.
Big lap for Marin on the other side. Massimo Valiente was just thousandths of a second shy of making the cut zone into Super Pole. 12 thousandths off the best time of Vincenzo Saraceno. 10th off was Josh Conker down in 8th. Kyle Drysdale 9th. Still a very impressive run for his rookie season with TKG Beer Art. Micah Hendricks shocked us there with a big lap that initially put him into the transfer into the top 6. But he ends up down in 10th. Daniel Fellows, Dane Idelson, Lachlan Tomlinson from New Zealand, the 14-year-old, one of the youngest on the grid, 13th. Angel Reynoso, Andre Nicastro on the opposite end of the age spectrum, the Wiley vet and Supernats champ, 15th. Anthony Freeze, Eric Hermanson, Danny Gardella, David Carmody, Tegan Poles, Jake Kolber, Volodymyr Borovdichenko, and Esteban Alvaron, your 23 from the group. 6 moving on. Marin Kremers, Adrian Reneden, Kyle Wick, Billy Musgrave, Danny Formal, and Vincenzo Saraceno in the number 11. They'll have a moment to themselves while the Micro Swifts take to the racetrack for their qualifying session, and then the top 12 will fight it out for the first 6 rows in Pro Shifters. 2 heat races on today. 2 groups will probably be the case once again for Micro Swift. Healthy turnout of them all, 24 in total for the youngest superstars on the SKUSA Pro Tour. That'll put them at about 12 and 12 based on what we can tell here for qualifying to split them in half. But my goodness, Rob, we've already got a couple of storylines. Most notably are two of our 3 main event winners from last year. Gavin Bailiff out of the first group and Josh Conker out of the second will have to start buried in the teens and will not even get a chance to fight for the top spot.
We talked about it, as I said before, watching that morning warm-up session, that there was going to be some big guys that were going to have some trouble maybe getting in. Pick this up, Xander. What we got going here?
Danny Formal readjusting the cart on the scales because this could be huge. Formal on the verge of being underweight. If he is underweight, that would knock him out. All good. Talk about a heart in your stomach kind of moment there for the big guy.
Can you see the contrast, though, of the years of him racing when he never had to worry about weight?
Yeah.
So shout out to the guy who's got himself in professional race shape, because that's not something that he would ever worry about. But, wow, I'm sure a little bit of nerves there a bit for Danny Formal.
And here's the other part, too. Again, there's minimal changes allowed for Super Pole. Granted, it's only an additional 2 laps, but I'm sure he's going to be hoping that they're not that close on the limit. That would put him, because again, falling out in that session but making it in this one is not something I think that we've had happen yet. And I will have to check the rulebook matrix if that would only put him back to 12th or if that would put him all the way to the rear. I would imagine it would just put him back to P12 if he made it in this session and came in underweight in Super Pole. But big development right there for a quick moment.
Wow.
And that's, again, why we have one class to split these guys and girls up, to make sure that everybody that transfers off of speed, transfers off of merit as well inside the rules and at or above minimum weight. That would have put Massimo Valiente into Super Pole. Talk about momentum for that kid. Top 10 at Supernats and then makes it. And again, he wasn't far off at 12 thousandths off Saraceno. So he'll still start really good. That'll be row number 7 for him in the heat races. So far from bad when you look at a 45-plus driver field.
Yeah, I think he'll be happy with that. And again, you get to go to work for the rest of the weekend, right? We're not done. There's a lot of work to be done here. This is just where you're going to kind of start the heat races. So be smart, work your way forward. But again, I think for Valiente, you got to be happy being that close to potentially going to Super Pole.
Grupo Santana Vega, Micro Swift now onto the racetrack. So 3 groups 2.5, I guess, set for qualifying. Pro Shifter out, K Junior set, K Master is set. Micro Swift will get their first laps underway. This one might be the first class because it looks like we've released all of them, Rob. I think all 24 are out there here for qualifying, that the back of the group just might be on the limit of getting their 4th or 5th lap in. I guess 4 in their case in that 5-minute window because we're at minute 20 and counting so far.
Yeah, if you did not get off the grid super quickly and maybe don't have help out there, or you're just going to warm the tires up a little bit, those guys are just, you see, coming through the tail here right now of turns 2 and 3. There's an opportunity, like you said, they may not get that full run, but otherwise the drivers up front, little 4-driver breakaway here, getting ready to get things underway. Jack Katowski will be a guy we'll watch for sure. He's had a great start to the season, a strong Q1 to start off the 2026 campaign, but again, drivers working together, finding their buddy out there, and no drafting as of yet, as one driver slipping back to the back here. They are going to do a little bit of working within the peloton, but 4-driver breakaway out front. Again, just the opening lap here. These drivers, again, back on track, getting a feel for where the dust is, where that grip is. Has it raised up a little bit? It's going to be at least probably 4 or 5 degrees cooler than it was, or warmer rather than it was during their warm-up session this morning. So all about understanding the conditions as they roll out here for qualifying.
So halfway into Micro Swift qualifying, we've got the scale line through from Pro Shifter. Caleb Vieska, let's go down to you.
Guys, to the story here after qualifying, Josh Conker 2 spots out of the cutoff. Just tell me about the track conditions this morning and what you kind of struggled with.
Yeah, I mean, the track was around and, making it a little more difficult. But, the piece was good this morning. It's been hard work in the tent, with the team just trying to get me back and, get everything reaccustomed after not being in the go-kart for about 3.5 months. So it's been good. I'm pleased with the pace this morning. We missed a little bit there in quali. Just getting a little caught out, probably not being perfect as we could be later on in the year. But, overall, happy with the result, but we know that there is more based on how fast our teammate is.
Yeah, and again, this is a track very high speed, right? In qualifying, we talked about going to be important, going to be a big factor here this weekend. How do you go about the heats and then the super heat tomorrow to try and work your way to the front?
Yeah, I mean, with the track being very high speed, it's going to be a pretty high dig track from what it looks like. So keeping the rear tire into is going to be a big thing. Sometimes right out pace for the heats is not going to matter as much. There's going to be nutrition, especially with how dirty offline is. Someone's going to go make a pass, make a mistake, and have a collision. So to be about keeping clean, keeping that rear tire into you, and just picking away at a couple spots here, a couple spots there.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Expected, yeah, kind of what we expected to hear from these guys. Take care of the tires, pick your way forward. Anybody not going in the Super Pole has a little bit different strategy now rolling in as the checkered flag flying to end the session here for Micro. Xander, we've got the drivers, a lot of stuff happening up front right now. Drivers moving here on that final lap as Andres Pena has gone to the top of the charts, 2/10 up on Kip Knaus. What a qualifying run for Kip Knaus here right now as he works his way up into the second spot ahead of Jack Katowski.
Wow, how about that? Only his second national Micro Swift qualifying and event altogether. Kip Knaus will join Andres Marcelo Pena on the front row provisionally, and the dominant driver from opening a couple of weekends on the year at the Winter Series, Jack Katowski, lines up behind them in third. That's a huge swing in the field, even from where they were in final practice. Big improvements for Kip. I mean, he was way down. Andres Marcelo Pena way down as well. Katowski, Wiley Lee, Dusty Strayer, who was quick last week, Shep Sullivan 6th. Huge change up here again. So,
yeah, just quick one though. Tristan Francisco, who was P1 yesterday, back in 7th position. That is a big shakeup, as you said.
So with that, folks, Micro Swift off and into the scale line. And we'll touch on them more here and keep an eye on the pretty and pink crew of Tristan Francisco and Ryan Perry Motorsport rolling from the inside of row 4 for the pre-final. Much different format for them. It's a rack 'em up and go style day for all 7 support classes here this weekend, running double-header formats. Round 1 today, round 2 tomorrow. Qualifying, pre-final, final. No room for error. There isn't any, though, in the class that is coming up. Pro Shifter Super Pole qualifying is coming up next. They are finishing the final bit of post-tech inspection from groups 1 and 2, but here we go.
IAMI USA West is the official West Coast importer for IAMI engines and parts. Our dedicated and knowledgeable staff have a combined 50+ years experience in the sport and can help you with all of your needs. Call us today or visit our website to find your local dealer to shop.
Are you stuck with your kart racing? Not sure the ideal kart setup? Or going to a track for the first time? Well, Kart Class has the answers for you. Our online portal has a wealth of experience and knowledge to help your kart racing. From kart setup advice to track guides that are targeted specifically to your circuit, or the driver coaching aspects with mindset, racecraft and driving techniques. If you want to take your karting to the next level, visit us at kartclass.com.
There you have it with the final prep and final command from Neil Strickland here from Superkarts USA to the 12 drivers that will be taking to the grid for Super Pole. AJ Myers, Hunter Pickett, Vincenzo Saracino, Gage Korn, and crew all making it nicely out of their group. Here's a look at your total 12 drivers that'll be fighting for the top starting spot for Heat 1 and Heat 2. 6 from each group. Marian Kremers, quickest from Group 2. Quarantine Russo, extremely quick, even with some issues back at Group number 1. And they're going to be gridded, from what we can tell here, in the order that they finish the run in. So Marian and Quarantine should be lined up towards the front. But in total, 12 names. Who stands out to you here first, Rob?
For me, I just love the fact that Gage Korn able to get in there. I think that's a cool factor. You know, you look at the guys like Morgado, those guys that we knew that are going to be in there, the Musgraves, the Formals. To see a kid like Gage Korn jump into the top 12, I love seeing that. It'll be a great experience for him right now. 2 laps, go get it done against the guys you've been watching for the last couple of years that you're now racing with. I love it for Gage.
I love it for Vincenzo Saracino, too. It's been a long time since he has had a true environment swap, team swap. This is a brand new environment for him, racing with PSL Karting. New chassis. He hasn't driven a Beetle Art in a long time, and the Florida-based driver is now starting his new year. Day 1 at a very, very high point here, making the transfer into Super Pole. Like you said, most of the regulars, a lot of the favorites, obviously, from what you could tell from Friday practice, have made it in. I think big improvement overnight win goes to AJ Myers. Compared to Friday happy hour, how good he looked in the warm-up, and for a moment didn't look that good, but that was because you and I, we anticipated 4 laps, not 5,
exactly.
or at least I did. And on lap 3, he was not good. The final 2 laps, he looked good. And when you think back to last year, their big focus with the Magic Kart and with AJ Myers' program was long run pace. So to be fast at the end of the session where everybody else was fast at the front, probably not a bad thing.
But just 2 laps here to get it done now. This is what I love about this whole format. 2 laps to get out, knock it down, get it done, and see who goes to the top. It'll be very interesting for me to see who's going to be able to have that pace, who's going to be able to put it down just on that 1 lap. Because again, the first one's just the warming up lap, then you got 1 lap to hit every mark.
Okay, so check this out. I think they have gone the way of the change that we were looking at potentially doing last year, and that was that we were going to send the slowest transfers out first. So the drivers below or just through the cut line will be the first ones out. So AJ Myers is one of the last ones to transfer. He's the first driver released here onto the racetrack. That'll put the fastest drivers further back if that's correct. Oh, and Billy Musgrave has a problem. The number 1 plate is slowed and at a halt here on the entrance of turn 4, Rob.
Yeah, an issue there. Not sure what it was. That's right out of the grid as well. That's not even 1 lap in, so he knows he will now be starting deep down the field. Very tough for Billy Musgrave. Again, that actually is, you're right, just coming out of turn number 4, done. Man, what a blow. Knowing for sure that the guys up front are going to have that big jump in the first heat race.
So the Magic Man now kicks things off here, starting his first of 2 laps. The number 2 plate working his way into the S's. Yesterday, outside the top 10 in final practice, Marin Kremers, fastest in his group, but he was a 10th off Quarantine Russo, trying to really make a mark. It's been a while since he's been in race-winning level equipment, and already the pace has shown good. Now the pressure's on to perform. Myers now first to the line will set the initial benchmark. It's a 48.821 for AJ. Hunter Pickett will go a little better. We'll pull the pylon up on the left side for you all to be able to watch along as well. Danny Formal, 48.468 for him.
Sandy, you obviously in this situation like this, a format like this, you can lean towards the experience, right? The maturity of a driver like Kremers. Guys you know that are going to be up front, the Formals, Wicks, who have been at this level of competition for so many years. Kremers is looking strong there. That Carblos number 94. We'll see where he rolls in here. Morgado now goes to the top.
Russo right there close to him, but Mateus Morgado holding. It'll be no times for Billy Musgrave. But Mateus Morgado and Quarantine Russo, the benefit of going quickest is they get to be the last ones to get a run at it. AJ Myers, first to the line right here, will only go to 5th on his 2nd lap. Hunter Pickett will go better. Here comes the big guy. What can Danny Formal do out of the last turn? Gage Korn, 47.89. That's better than Formal. Korn looking good, but still the fastest are yet to go. Here comes Kremers and Russo into the last turn. Kyle Wick across the line faster by nearly half a second to the end. Run it into 2nd. Kremers goes better. 2 more right here.
Final drivers across the line to get it done. Irwin goes to 5th, but Morgado to the top of the charts. Morgado wins the Super Bowl.
Mateus Morgado with a heater at the very end. Quarantine Russo, you followed there, had nothing at the very end. Morgado with the answer to Marian's call. And the 2 former teammates will go wheel to wheel on the front row of the grid for Heat 1 and Heat number 2. Mateus Morgado, 47.241, turns it up on scuffs that match essentially the pace of what Group 1 hit Marian Kremers. Great performance. How about Kyle Wick and Adrian Reneden turning things up here in Super Pole?
Yeah, listen, Morgado alongside Kremers for the start of this weekend. I love that. 47.241, less than 2/10 back was Kremers. You go a little further back down the order where you've got a half a second essentially to the top 6. But yeah, a very good run for Morgado, and we'll have a look here at the front few rows.
So here's a look at how they'll stack up for Heat number 1, folks. Mateus Morgado alongside Marin Kremers in the 5 plate on the inside, then the 4 plate, and Adrian Reneden on row 2. Jay Irwin, very quiet qualifying batch of rounds for him, snuck his way in the middle in his group, and he'll start in the middle of the 6 from this one. Quarantine Russo, probably the second biggest disappointment, as Billy Musgrave, you can hear it there, the exhaust silencer has come disconnected. Russo there back in the outside of row number 3. Then going on to rows 4, 5, and 6. It should be Gage Korn on the inside, Vincenzo Saracino on the outside. And then it will be the likes of Hunter Pickett, Gage Korn, Danny Formal, Vincenzo Saracino, Hunter Pickett, AJ Myers, and Billy Musgrave for rows 4, 5, and 6. Here's a look at them with their times. Big deltas there for all of them. Myers probably the biggest surprise to me here. A full second off. Nothing for him on that final lap. Pickett either dropping down, and Formal too. 7/10 off on the 1 lap pace.
Yeah, indeed. A little bit of a surprise there. Again, Gage Korn doing a great job for the young rookie driver. Strong there alongside one of the best we've ever had in American shifter kart racing, and Danny Formal. Big start to the season here in the Superkarts USA Pro Tour for the Sodi Kart brand as well. They had a great start to the WSK program overseas with some championships and wins. And again, a couple of drivers looking very good. But we're very early, as we know. That's just qualifying. A lot of wheel-to-wheel action still to come. But I think Mateus Morgado, Xander, will be very happy coming out of the gate as the fastest driver.
Yeah, that's going to be a sight for sore eyes after the early exit to the Supernats main event for Mateus. And even equally as well back at the SKUSA Winter Series in Speed Sports, Rob, seemed like a bit of an issue for him down there for pace. But now, pace is no problem at all for the number 5 machine. Let's go down to you, Caleb.
Thank you very much there, Xander. So the pipe.
We'll wait on Caleb here in a moment. And again, probably echoing there what we heard on the racetrack was the issue for Billy Musgrave. Have to imagine one of the 2 exhaust springs off the exhaust port of the motor was the ultimate issue. Trying to look at it here. Oh, no. Look at that. What a great angle. A straight-up hole where the EGT sensor connects into the pipe. That's how they can measure the engine exhaust temperatures and try to get carburation and air-fuel mixture. So no, nothing there, just a straight-up part failure for Billy Musgrave. Heartbreaker for him. Good news is that happened in Superpole and not in regular qualifying, so it puts him obviously still on row 6. Couldn't have happened at a better time. Better now than probably in any other session on the weekend, Rob.
Yeah, that would have dropped him down in a big way. Still had the obviously the move forward into the top 12. But yeah, that happened in one of the heat races. Man, that would have been a big hit. But otherwise, he'll be rolling from the outside of row number 6. We looked at those top 6 rows, and indeed some work to be done still for Billy Musgrave. But I guarantee he'll be up on the wheel when we go racing here later on today.
Pro Shifter would have been the biggest class on the entry list here at the SKUSA Pro Tour Winter Nationals at Musselman Honda Circuit. Had it not tied and initially been beat to the sellout cap by KA100 Senior. We've got 47 drivers on the list for today. We talked about Ron White having to miss out on practice after getting the eye of the officials for an on-track collision. Same goes for Ruben Moya, the Spanish Salmon, one of the drivers inside the SKUSA Circle of Champions Fund in Pro X30. Double duty for him on the full calendar with FDM. He got into it with Dean Peterson yesterday in practice 2 and excluded him from practice in both classes for the entirety of Friday.
Wow.
So that would put him, I would guess, in this slow group. But there was also one added note on that one that further actions were pending. So I don't even know if we'll get to see the black and yellow machine out on track today.
Yeah, I'd heard about the penalty. I didn't know there could be more added on to it. So indeed, we'll have a look to see if Moya does present himself out here for this first group of qualifying. But yeah, a massive group of drivers here in the KA100 Senior class. It'll be fun to see the cream rise to the top. But again, tough conditions, as we've said. We talked about it at the top of the broadcast. A very windy day here. Based on the forecast, still about 4 hours worth of high winds. Maybe 2 o'clock it'll subside for the afternoon races. But otherwise, right now, temperatures just starting to work their way up, finally up to 70 degrees. It was essentially, mid to high 90s all day yesterday. So we're going to get a bit of a reprieve on that here for the early parts of the day. They are saying a high of 86 on the day, but nothing close to the mid 90s yesterday or the temperatures over 100 last week here when the RMC America's Trophy invaded the track here at Musselman Honda Circuit. So a much cooler and more comfortable morning, but it has, of course, presented the drivers here with a far different set of conditions than they saw throughout the day on Thursday and Friday.
We got the first laps in for KA100 Seniors, so our first bit of an active read of who is quick and who is not right now in this second group. And much like KA Junior, Rob, I could easily see this group with how quickly they've gotten up to speed, how little they've messed around, punching way higher than what the fast group does. I hope the KA seniors in the fast group saw what happened to KA junior, because they could easily hand off the front couple of starting spots here to the drivers in this group if they're not careful. And in fact, this group obviously is pretty stacked. How about Colin Lloyd, one of our most recent KA senior national winners, going back to the winter series in this pack. Bailey Murphy, double duty for him, KA Senior and KA Master. We haven't seen that actually in a long time where someone's run double duty.
Yeah.
And he's not just using it for practice. He's out here qualifying. He just went quickest on the opening lap around.
Yeah, Jackson Menchue, Colin Lloyd, Dylan Dransfeld, and Xander Malatesta, the Fast Five on the opening circuit. Expect 4 laps for the drivers here in KA 100 Senior. But like Xander said, they have to be very mindful in the faster group of what happened in the junior category, where we saw the top 2 drivers come from the first group on the racetrack. You have to have the right strategy. Don't play the games. Do these things you need to do to get the laps down. And maybe more importantly, Xander, don't mess around on that final circuit. You've got to set yourself up for that last lap where you expect the tires to be where they need to be.
Big move to the inside. That was Archer Eversman with a move on former teammate there, Jacob Kappel. The Axis Kart Sport black and red speed on the FDM Pantano. They are currently outside your top 5, but not far from it. I mean, look how close the field spread is in the top 10 right now in this group. There's still, again, laps to be left to be run. And KA Junior really only got 4. Looking at 3 minutes, 20 seconds a lap so far. This one's probably only going to be 4 laps even for the first one out, as quick as they were out of the gate. Colin Lloyd on lap 3 here. I think he's tuned up perfectly for a big-time toe lap if they don't bottle up in front of him right here. If not, on lap 4, with how good he's positioned himself. Check it out. 7 car lengths back from this big line. He's already second. He's already put a good one in at a 53 flat. But this one will be better for sure, and the next one could be massive, because up here, all of these kids, they are back and forth. That was another pass for Eversman. That was on the Nash Motorsports machine of Wrigley Keys, I think. Indeed, the 996 down at turn 1, so that hurts Wrigley's final lap. Jacob Kappel's going to have to deal with him. Archer won't have the best lap either. Xander Malatesta out in front of the pack with Edgar Rodriguez and the SLA machine. All of it just backs him up right, though, to the 961, Rob. Gives him a huge tow.
I think you're bang on. I was smiling just as you started to say that, because I looked and Collins really lined up nicely to be able to leverage that run down the back straightaway here. There he is there. Get the full tow down the back straightaway. Tailwind as well. Again, maybe not quite as much of a draft with the tailwind, but let's see whether or not it works for Lloyd. Eversman's gone on top in that Axis machine, but we'll wait for Lloyd. Does he leverage it and get across? He'll go to P2, make it 3rd, as a number of other drivers moving up further back as well. But yeah, Bailey Murphy still on top of the 913.
And how about the Californian Kalani Anaya on the Precision Works Racing CRG? The young lady up to 2nd. Huge lap for her on her SKUSA Pro Tour debut. Bailey Murphy, though, still holding strong on station. And again, this group was only 23rd or 24th on back from happy hour. Let's go ahead and take a look as well here at the times that they've got compared to what we had from final practice yesterday. We know the track is quick, the shifters were fast, and the KA juniors were just about rock steady with where they ended the day on Friday. The quick time was a 52.042 and a 0.84 for the man on your screen, Diego Ramos, in that PSL karting machine. The drivers that we were looking at from that group there, way back. Kalani, 41st in happy hour.
2nd in her group. That's awesome. What a great recovery there.
Big for her, 53.724 to go all the way to a 52.719. Picked up a 2nd overnight. Well, another driver picked up a little bit, maybe not that much, but enough to go to the pole in Pro Shifter was Mateus Morgado. He's down with Caleb.
Thank you, Xander. Mateus, what a lap after the Super Pole, put it on the pole position. Tell me about that session, and again, so critical to get those tires up to temperature in only 2 laps.
Yeah, great result. Just my 2nd race this year, so really happy with the work we've done. All the Saudi team, Velocity team, Sunny Competition engines. Everyone been doing a great job since the beginning of the week. Super Pole is super hard. Was never my good thing, but well, happy to end up on top today.
Is it safe to say you're finally getting comfortable on this package and with this team? It seems like the environment has been really friendly to you and very accepting.
Yeah, I love everyone. At the end, the guys that you work with become part of your family, so I think we have a good friendship. we are a great team together. I'm happy also to be working with Adrian together, such a great driver, and having reference of one and the other is great to develop our material and be able to do good.
And again, the guy starting alongside you on that front row is Martin Kremers. He's been the guy everybody's been chasing throughout the qualifying session, or throughout the practice sessions yesterday. How is it going to be to try and keep him behind throughout the heats?
Yeah, we had no doubt he was fast. He was just not in the correct package in the last few years, but you know, you give him a good stuff and he will show good results. So he will be a driver to be there on top as well. So we'll fight hard for that.
Thank you, Matheus.
Thank you.
Xander, for me, I like the note on the team. You know, getting a chance to kind of blend with the team. Oftentimes it doesn't just happen overnight when you jump over to a new package. The equipment's one thing, the material's one thing, but it's the dynamic of the people that you're working with, right? The minute you kind of start to settle in, as Matheus said, when you go to war week in and week out, you start to become family. He's so new to the team that once you kind of get in there and get battling, then you can start to blend, and I think you see the results come after that.
And this is still only weekend 4 for them, but more importantly, at the last time that he was on this level of a stage with Pro Shifter, it was a tryout, right? The Supernats was okay, let's run you here. We have Adrian Rennerden. Yep. We have Caden McQueen, who's obviously doubled up this week, and we've got a lot of rock stars in our team. We don't need you. We'd like to have you if this works and if you can perform. And the speed was there at Vegas. Obviously, lap 1, turn 4, cleaned out along with his teammates, so that didn't help things in terms of putting up a result on the board, but they were happy enough with the performance and the initial, coming together. And like you said, it takes a while to kind of build that rapport, get that comfort level. And I asked him back at the Winter Series, Rob, is it starting to feel like home walking into that tent after so many years of wearing a red suit, walking into the PSL karting camp? And he said, yeah, well, for one, I miss my buddy Diego. Not being teammates with him, we've had so many years now and a lot of fun being together. But at the same point, this is starting to feel like home over here. And going on the equipment side, he said, I'm still not getting the most out of it. This package, I do believe, is the best package out there in gearbox racing. I said, what is it? He said, the brakes, dude. The brakes on this Velocity Sodi is phenomenal, and I am not utilizing them to their full ability. 2 major straightaways, 2 huge brake zones here, and a couple more around the rest of the racetrack. But turn 1 and turn 11, obviously he was able to maximize them for that lap. I'm curious if he feels the same, though, still after qualifying on the pole, if he has more speed left in the machine. And when we talk about more speed left in it, Group 2, I think they've still got more headed our way. This is only their second lap completed. They're working lap 3, Rob, and they've already started to bump down many of your drivers from Group 1. Bailey Murphy's only in 10th.
Yeah, right behind him was Diego Ramos, only on his second lap. Like you said, Paulie Massimino has gone to the top. Jackson Gibson up into second. Alejandro Halfin into the third spot. Caden McQueen fourth, and Chase Gassiet-Lee rounding out the top 10. Gaffera, Hain, McCune, Cagle, and Ramos now your top 10. Ramos, of course, your defending champion in the KA100 senior category. He'll look to try to go back-to-back here to start off the season. But listen, it's been a great start to the season as well. For young Isaac Malkit. Again, super strong in a number of the events he's been in, and look forward to seeing him be a factor here this week. It was very strong last weekend on the Rotax as well, so got a good feel for this racetrack.
We got to ride shotgun with Ike last week. He looked exceptionally strong. And to go from last week to this week, different motor package, and again, in K100 Senior, it's far from what they need to do to go fast in Rotax Senior. That's been no issue for him, but it is a bit of an issue here in this morning, at least to back up that practice result. Paulie Massimino, big lap here at the end. 52.121 bumps Ike all the way down to 7th with the checkers flying. Big lap out of Chase Hand to crack the top 5. How about Jackson Gibson? Rookie standout. Nelliton Race Concepts, the Pacific Northwest-based operation, has a handful of stars this weekend. They are 3rd in KA Senior.
He has been at this track enough over the years, running Challenge of the Americas events, different races. Wasn't here on Thursday. Rolled in here on Thursday afternoon, didn't get any seat time, so Friday was the only time on the racetrack for Jackson Gibson. P3 in qualifying. Look for him to go to work when we go pre-final racing. Good stuff for him.
Moving on down the rest of the board here, you can see just how close it is in the midfield. Hundreds to thousands of a second separating so many. Archer Eversman, again, quick in Group 1, but it did end up kind of blending out about where Happy Hour was, with most of the Group 1 drivers getting bumped back by the Group 2 drivers. Kalani Anaya, though, on the other hand, 19th with the dust settling. Bailey Murphy, 15th. So still good for both drivers to punch up about 8 spots apiece. Kalani compared to Friday afternoon, 20-plus spot improvement from 41st to 19th, so that's huge for her. And just like that, another one is set, racked, and loaded for pre-final activities. CRG KA100 Senior now begins to form up down on the grid with the first of their 2 groups, and in total 4 classes still have grids to be set today. KA Senior, X30 Junior, Mini Swift, and Pro X30 are the classes that are coming your way here for qualifying as things stand. Lap times seem even to yesterday. KA Senior was 2 groups. X30 Junior should be 2 groups. We've had them now of the bigger single speed classes with 2 group splits, Rob. 50-50 in terms of the fast group punching as the odds makers should say they would punch at, going well above the slow group. But if you factor in the micros, we're only 1 for 3 of the majority of the fast group actually going fast in qualifying and not getting pipped for the front row.
You got to be smart through these sessions. They are short. It's 4 laps. You mess around a little bit, you lose a lap. You're just not there when you need to be. You get caught up by somebody else. Again, with the big draft we're talking about, the headwind in your face coming out of turn number 1 through the chicane 2-3 back to 4. Then you get the big push as well when you come out of turn number 10 down to turn number 11. You've got to be in the right spot. Colin Lloyd did a great job. Didn't quite pay off completely, but again, he had that gap where he was leveraging just enough draft and had some open track in front of him. Drivers that don't do that and get caught up with the guys in front of them are the ones that go further back. So indeed, you have to be smart. The strategy of these sessions is key. There's a potential issue here for the 7-12, Xander, off the racetrack.
James Cushman in the Rolliston Performance Group Cosmic seems to have trouble there with the motor. You can see the smoke billowing out of the pipe as if he was trying to refire it over and over again. Didn't seem like the throttle cable was the issue. That seems more like ignition or carburation. Meanwhile, first batch of the X30 Juniors at full song on the run down to turn number 1 at the moment, and it is none other than Cameron Johnson leading him, or John McClellan leading him around. Lawrence Perriman behind him. Leo De Silva, who was really fast last week in the Racing Edge Motorsports Cosmic, finds himself in the slow group, and I'm trying to see if there's anyone else big of note that did not make it into the fast group, and it looks like for the most part a good chunk of them did, but John McClellan was quick last weekend. He finds himself as the first man below it. De Silva should be fast. Troy Ferguson will be interesting to watch in the 740 for sure. And then equally, Lawrence Perriman. This is his first time in an X30 Junior from my knowledge so far for Brandon Jarstrek Racing, moving up from Mini Swift.
Yeah, Peyton Anderson down in the 9th spot as well. She's had a pretty good start to the season, so watch for Peyton to work her way back forward here.
There's a look at Ferguson on the Bennick. That's another new note for this year. They have dabbled a bit in it in the past, Rob, as you and I both know, but they are back in development of a full-size chassis. Chase Gassey at Lee running double duty for them in KA Senior and Pro X30. And here in Junior, they've got Troy Ferguson. Certainly no slouches behind the wheels of those blue and orange machines. Let's go down to pit lane as well, folks, here with Caleb once again with KA Senior qualifying all wrapped up.
Thank you, Xander. Paulie Massimino on the pole here in KA Senior. And Paulie, I got to look back to last year, right? Finished 4th in the championship, didn't run the whole year. This year scheduled for a full year of double-duty racing. Talk to me about starting off the year on a high here with Paul.
Yeah, I mean, we've been pretty quick all weekend. I felt like, happy hour was kind of not where we wanted to be, but it kind of worked out today. Yesterday, we were kind of just going out by ourselves, and in happy hour, kind of caught some not lap traffic, but some slower guys, and kind of ruined that. But set myself up good today. I still had to pass on both my last 2 laps, but definitely not leading the pack with this wind is definitely the way to go.
How helpful was it being here last weekend and learning, and then being here this weekend with and already putting on some good results?
I don't think much at all, to be honest. This track is it's ridiculously easy in my opinion. It's very high momentum, high speed. I mean, you don't even have a hairpin. So, road tax was good last week, but I think we'd still be in the same spot if we showed up this week.
Thank you, Paulie. Congrats on the pole.
Thank you.
Back for sure. We talked to David Cole, was kind of messaging me earlier today. Shifter guys, their lowest gear is third gear. They're not going down even into second gear. And as Paulie said, there is no hard hairpin here. It's a very wide, sweeping, open racetrack. You open up the inside of one corner, guys are going to go down the inside as well. So it's more of a momentum track than it is maybe a highly technical racetrack. So it kind of plays out. The other thing I picked off of that was, Xander, you do not want to be at the front of a pack, I think, in qualifying. It's just not going to work for you when that wind is hammering you straight in the face.
No, you do not. You want to be certainly trailing up to a car in front of you, and I think that's going to bode well for the racing for us from an entertainment factor. Agreed. But it's going to be a huge matter of difficulty for the drivers to break away. Look at it right now here with how much it's shuffling off those two major packs coming across the line in just this first group for X30 Junior, and how close those times are. A couple hundredths up or down could be the not just one position, but multiple positions. And Leo Da Silva bests them out of the first group. Clayton Stiles, Grayson Walcott, good lap late. Isaac Payne, Paxton Romero, and John McClellan, who led them around for a good chunk of the session, even getting a push on the last lap is a 10.5 off. And I would bet quite a bit of money there, Rob, that take the draft away, and that top 7, top 8 from this group, dead knots even.
Yeah, I think that's the key. This wind really has been the thing that's kind of been the deciding factor on qualifying. I love your call about the fact that it's going to make things very interesting when we finally go heat racing with the pro shifters in the pre-finals as well. So, again, if indeed 2 o'clock is the stop time when we could potentially lose this wind and it kind of dies down a little bit, that'll play things differently for the mains. But, yeah, I have a sneaking feeling that it's going to be very interesting to watch the packs up front and throughout the field when we finally go wheel-to-wheel racing.
So that's the first half from X30 Junior wrapped up. Benchmark 51.262. Let's look back at what they did on yesterday's sessions in happy hour, Rob, here, while the fast group gets released out onto the racetrack and begins to warm up the tires. It was a 50.84, high 50s of what they ran at the very end of the session. A 50.708 was the quick time by Nico Katowski. Royce Vega right there with them, only a couple thousandths off. Ashton Woon here on screen in the 3-plate. He is the only returning driver in X30 Junior from the top 2 of last year, with, of course, Alexander Vanchev making the move up to Pro X30, along with the vice champ moving up as well. So only the 3-plate will be the championship plate that remains in this class. Ashton Woon had a very impressive rookie season in X30 Junior last year. And I think going into this year, based off the back of 2025, you would think, all right, well, we're going to be the kid to beat. But it's been good. He's just not been the only kid that has been wicked fast. Hurricane Travis Pettit was lights out speed-wise last weekend, Rob. He was unreal. Went from the back of the field, got all the way to third, almost drove his way up to the win, and he had to damn near will his way. So as we take a look at the times here coming in for the fast group thus far in X30 Junior Qualifying, Travis Pettit going back to it, though, unbelievable, Rob. It went from the back of the field all the way up to third last week, almost got the win, just came up about probably a lap and a half shot. He was 2 to 3 tenths better than the field. Then on Sunday, showed back up, qualified pole, won the pre-final, won the final, drove away, didn't get touched. As you heard from Paulie Massimino, he says he doesn't think last week helped him at all.
No.
I don't know if I would say the same about the juniors, and I don't know if Travis Pettit would echo those thoughts or not. But we're going to see it in action right here when this first lap at speed comes on by. Da Silva at a 51.262 compared to their first laps. They're half second off. This lap will be the first true one. Katowski and Woon right towards the top, and then instantly better. Hurricane Trav 51.054. That's a 10th up on him. And he is in a great spot here, trailing off the back of his teammate Royce Vega, and both of them chasing those first 2 cars of Woon and Katowski. So prime positions here right now for the 2 RPG machines, if I could say the least. And then Tristan Murphy as well if he can hang on to him, he might be even better than those two.
Agreed, yeah. Pettit, Woon, Murphy, Samet, Schniegenberg, current Fast 5. De Silva, fastest of the first group, dropping down into that 6th position. But again, lots of laps still to come, or at least a couple laps still to come, and the good laps, right? Not just the early laps here. And as Xander had said, just kind of look at the way they're lined up. The RPG drivers are going to swap positions coming down into the corner. And indeed, Tristan Murphy, is he in the catbird seat? Is that RPM number 711 in the right spot? Katowski goes up into 3rd, but not for long, as here comes Schniegenberg, here comes Golseth. Murphy now into 3rd, just under 2/10 back. Pettit, 50.864, still provisional pole.
So he picked up 2/10 on that lap. He picked up about a 2 or 3/10 marker from the lap before. And then the time is still good right now. Looks like the entirety of the group will all get 4 laps. Nobody, I think, got burned in this one in the first group, so everyone should be good in the fast group as well. There's the checkered flag now. Tristan Murphy closing in towards Vega with Pettit having to make a pass. Is that going to hurt things at all? Woon making a pass on Nico Katowski. That'll hurt, obviously, Katowski on this final lap. He's not been that great in the session regardless, but really neither has Woon. He's 3/10 off, needs this one to be huge. It is, but it is still not enough. Travis Pettit answers the call again. Colton Schniegenberg to 2nd. Big lap out of Braden Wagner here. Double top 10 qualifying performances for the West Coast kid. He's the only other one besides the top couple to improve, but we ended Sunday when we signed off the broadcast. Travis Pettit, top of the 125 juniors. He is top of them again when we roll back here on Saturday morning a week later.
You wonder whether or not Woon maybe lost just a little bit, having to go to the inside of turn number 11. He did get through the 11-12 combination cleanly, but did he lose just a little bit to not be able to take that spot away from Pettit? But again, great qualifying run for Colton Schniegenberg as well. Just a couple of hundredths of a second back. Great stuff. Pettit, Schniegenberg, Woon, Murphy, and Vega. Top 5.
So RPG X30 Junior coming into the pit lane now, leaves just 2 classes left to go green here from Tucson, Arizona at Musselman Honda Circuit for qualifying. We are ready to go racing any moment now. The winds have not backed down at all. It will throw a whole lot at the drivers, but with Mini Swift ready, X30 Pro on tap, and you can see the track development is waiting for them and waiting for more rubber to get laid down. We'll be right back.
Macron Motorsports builds champions every day, drivers who won on the world stage. The Tillotson T4 Series is pure spec racing. Same engine, same chassis. When you win, it's because you were the best that day. Your edge is not the kart. It's the setup, the strategy, and the race team. With our Arrive and Drive program, you simply bring your gear, we provide the equipment and the championship-winning support to every event. Stop wrenching, start racing. Your path to the T4 Nations Cup in Spain starts with us. For more information, contact us at macronmotorsports.net.
So our second to last division onto the circuit now. Mega Power Racing Engines Mini Swift with X30 Junior done and dusted, and last week's front runners right at the top again. Mini Swift probably much more wide open or unpredictable compared to last weekend. We saw Aiden Go have incredible speed. We saw Hudson Howard finish first on both days, ultimately got a penalty handed down on the second day. Mason Brody was taking the fight to himself and Yusuf Adi throughout most of the weekend. But Brody Stoffel, not a ton of noise on opening weekend. Jake Benaglio absent, Samuel Chavarri as well, kind of a little bit outside the real window. But the Rotax to IAME 125 or IAME 60cc, in this case Mini Swift Micro Swift, I think the Mini to the Mini Max machines probably is one of the bigger differences. So we may see quite a few different names from what those of us watching or those of us taking notes from last weekend here in Arizona at the top of the pylon than what was 7 days ago.
Yeah, we expect that. Add a number of drivers into the field as well, so new drivers that maybe weren't here, who's going to step to the forefront. Not unexpected to see some new names, but again, as you said, Hudson Howard was very strong. Yusuf Adi. Chavarri had a couple of top fives, as you mentioned. So, again, the track time there, possibly getting these drivers dialed in to being here in Tucson, getting a feel for the racetrack itself. We'll see whether or not Hudson Howard has it again. Stoffel goes to the top of the charts here to get things underway. Mason Brody goes to second. Lucas Tarango to third. Tibbs, Howard, fourth, fifth. Westbrook, Benaglio, Chavarri, Pasuli, and Postal are your top 10.
Oh, whoa. Mason Brody all out of shape there trying to make a pass in turns 2 and 3, and we are dicing it up in the middle of the pack right now. That is also right around one of the Bennett machines. That's the 133, a Dutch Westbrook in the mix. One of the Paralympic machines, that looks to be Colton Bruck, I believe, in the 120. All drivers off the edge of the top 5. How about Axel Tibbs, though, in the 145 GFC machine? Talking with Gary Carlton coming into this weekend. I know he was obviously excited to just have a West Coast event. Talking to him over the last 2 years, I feel like it always ends up being a topic of conversation. Man, we're always, we keep coming over to these East Coast boys racetracks. How about they come out our way? How about we go and come to a racetrack that we know real well, and let's see how they do. Now, Axel Tibbs, unfortunately, this last lap has been shuffled as the checkered flag flew for the majority of the group. I don't know if all the group got it. Lucas Tarango improved, as did Benaglio. How about Lachlan Postal moving up into the top 10?
Max Santana to the top.
And that's big, because he just moved up to the Mini Swift class as well. It's his first season, but it is very close, and I still think at the speeds they're going, Rob, that we're going to get another one.
Yeah, we may get, we're 3 laps in. Santana, Howard, Westbrook, Stoffel, and Tarango.
Here's a look at Hudson Howard and Tarango. So the 149 and the 167 machine, they're 2nd and 6th. Up front, the 2 Nitros are disconnected. That's Benaglio and Stoffel ahead of the group. Howard's kind of in their tow, kind of not. Any changes at the line for the last chance, last-ditch effort? Nobody on that bonus lap finds any more speed. How about that?
Yeah,
or no, actually, we're not seeing timing update. It looks like they didn't get the last lap in. All but Stoffel and maybe Benaglio. We might see a change incoming here in a moment, Rob. I'm going to take another look at this. There's Benaglio populating up 1. If they indeed did get one more lap, we don't have a read on it. If they did not, then it won't matter. And it's Max Santana. If so, first career Mini Swift National pole. And the Bennett boys got to be thrilled with that one. They'll have both of the inside first 2 starting spots with Dutch Westbrook in 3rd. Looking back down the leaderboard here, Colton Bruck and Mason Brody just outside your top 10. Then Jet Fisher, Samia Altar, Chait Sanchez. Let's go down to Caleb, though. Pro X30, our last class to qualify, is getting ready to go green. 2 groups for them. Caleb, what do you have for us?
Yeah, thank you, Zender. The wind's been one of the biggest topics, and aero wash has been an even bigger topic in this Pro X30 division. If we take a look down here with the GFC boys down on grid, they've actually opted to use the old iteration of the KG front bumper. Speaking of Jake Drew earlier this morning, said they're just finding a little bit more and a little bit more forgiveness, if you will, throughout the S's. And again, they had reports that there was just a lot of understeer this morning with the increase in mile an hour in wind, but just something different to note, right? The new iteration of KG, they have the holes on the side of the front bumpers, but this old iteration doesn't have that, and they're saying it's just a little bit more help, that little bit extra to try and go faster at the Musselman Honda circuit.
And if there was a day to do it, it would be this morning, Rob, because the track temperature way lower than yesterday. The surface temps, or the air temps also, as you mentioned, they were 20 degrees lower than when we left the racetrack for happy hour. So if you're going to sacrifice that little bit of airflow to the front tires, which was part of that new design, or a big focus from what Jordan Lennox-Lamb was telling us a couple of years ago, is to try and get more airflow to the tires, going back to the old iteration might be better. And that was something as well David Cole covered in the ECAN preview also, Rob, about the fact that with this class, X30 Junior, Pro Shifter, and KA Master not running pushback bumpers, that we're seeing not just these guys, but a few other teams and manufacturers go into some older iterations of bodywork because it seems to fit a little bit better with the standard bracket and not the pushback bracket.
And the interesting that Caleb talked about is where the big issue is the air wash coming through the S's here, because literally that's right back into the wind. The wind essentially coming right across the faces there, and as you're turning in, you're losing that little bit of front downforce as you get into that corner. And anybody who's been at these races know that if you get a little late on one of those corners, the first couple of corners of the S's, you're chasing the line all the way back over to turn number 10. So you need to stay close, you need to stay tight, but again, a very interesting pickup there for GFC, and we'll see whether it plays off for them here as the drivers roll out Pro X30.
And how about this? Ryan Norberg in the slow group. I don't know if anyone would have predicted that going into this weekend. Even still, only his second weekend, of course, on the GFC package. It's a, as he calls it, part-time schedule. He's full on the SKUSA Pro Tour and for the Supernats, and that is it for him. It's still only his second weekend getting to race this package altogether. Third time getting to do any kind of race in the black and white colors. Supernat's pace was probably top 20. He got cleaned out on the first lap of qualifying with a wreck in front of him. That put him buried in the field, and then we didn't really get to see or hear much from the two-plate and 10-time champ. But he's not alone. Jesus Vasquez Jr. was also back there, and they were only 4.5 tenths off the quickest time in Friday happy hour as the first laps come in now for Pro X30 qualifying. Same goes for some more big names like Donovan Bonilla, who hovered the top 10 at the Winter Series, former Supernats champ. Gassiet Lee in this group on the Bennick, James Overbeck. And how about the name that goes quickest on the first lap? We got to give a big shout out to the driver who was the other end of probably the most contentious Pro Tour Pro X30 championship in recent memory. And that's saying a lot with how last year ended. The 2016 title fight, or 2017 title fight between Jake Craig and Ryan Norberg went down to the wire. The 2016 Supernats champ, 2014 Pro Tour champ, returns this weekend. I had to ask him, Rob. I had to. I couldn't hold myself back joking about it because this was a decision they made on Monday. He's, of course, a father of two. His wife, Riley, back home. I said, how'd the wife deal with it? She said, well, at first she wasn't too happy with me, but I think we're okay. She liked the post that you guys put up about me coming back. So Jake Craig is a welcomed return to the paddock, and he is one of many veterans on the older end of the spectrum, driving for the driver who currently holds, as he reminded me of, and something I didn't know, Matt Johnson is currently the record holder for the oldest Pro X30 winner on the Pro Tour, going back to this event.
Wow.
Back in 2013.
That's good stuff.
So,
yeah, you go back. Craig was here as well in that weekend, running in 2013 in Tag Seniors. So, indeed, yeah, I did not have that stat in the books there for Matt Johnson.
Oh, we got issues already. That's the 338 Nash machine. That is Jack Small. And he is trying to re-enter the racetrack, so that makes us think that it might have been more of an on-track incident than a mechanical. Next couple laps through. Craig, quick again. James Overbeck second. Gassiet Lee third. 50.32 for Jake. James Overbeck a 10th off. Gassiet Lee a 10th off. Norberg 5th. Buddy J, Jesus Vasquez Jr. struggling in this one. He's half a second off Craig. Who knows where that'll put him in the field if he can't find some more speed in the 8 plate.
Craig did a bit of 100cc racing earlier this year as well. I think more comfortable telling us in the 125. So liking the Pro X30 category again, looking strong up front with a 50.324. Overbeck not that far back, 900ths of a second. Gassiet Lee on that Bennick. Bonilla now 4th. Norberg in the 5th spot, about 3 tenths back. Right now, Norberg P5.
This will be it, probably the last lap or coming to it. We're going to put 4 in. There's the checkers to the line. Vasquez Jr. improves, Norberg improves, Overbeck and Craig get a little bit better. James Overbeck with a big toe lap off the back of Jake Craig will go to a 50.137. And Chase Gassiet Lee somewhere in the mix, equally able to get a good lap late in the session to go to second. Pushes Craig to third. Finnegan Bailiff, no, late lap out of Sergei Karmseli. Look at him, he was by himself on the MPG Kart Republic. Jumps all of them up to second. Gassiet Lee third, Craig fourth, Finn Bailiff fifth, Norberg. Then it is Lucas Hernandez, Jesus Vasquez Jr., Donovan Bonilla, and Wrigley Keys. 50.13 time to beat. It should be no problem at all based on how fast this man was on Friday. Sean Butcher's second ever American X30 start, his third ever U.S. start on the books. And at the Winter Series, Rob, it was just a gut punch after another gut punch for both main events. First in the wet at round number 3 at the Winter Series for his debut, running in the top 5, flat tire takes him out of the main event. Then round 2, running second, radiator hose clamps, comes loose, starts bleeding water, temps rising, still salvaged the P2, but he was hunting down the Canadian Aiden Ingrata for the race win, and he could have won on debut, and no doubt about it, Mike Rollison said, yeah, you're coming back. He's here for the whole 2 weeks in Arizona, and he's joined by his fellow countryman, Gus Lawrence, both of them first and third yesterday.
Yeah, you throw Alexander Vanchev in there for the 3 drivers for RPG, all 3 of those drivers in the top 10 in happy hour yesterday afternoon. So the RPG guys have got a great lineup of drivers. You mentioned Ingrata already. We've already kind of talked about him this morning. A very strong Q1 to start the season for Ingrata. And we didn't see this in any of the other categories, but Xander, here comes the strategy we see in Pro X30.
Well, here's a bit of it for Sean Butcher, right? At the moment, if everybody wants to follow you, and we know the timer is a hard stop at that 5-minute clock, well, burn them. Get them off your tail by the checkered flag, hitting them with you just before it. But I don't think he's really the main reason that most of these guys are waiting around, because he's driven away now, and he's only got a couple stragglers hanging along with him. Rookie Eric Doan and last week's double winner Aiden Ingrata. Everybody else is hanging back by the likes of Lawrence and Joe Turney.
Very impressive for Doan as well yesterday. Put a good time down in happy hour.
No, I spoke too soon. They're all going to wait again.
I was just going to say, yeah.
So Butcher knows the toe's big. He doesn't want to be the first one to go. I think he's going to give up for now and have to go. He's going to have to at least put a lap or 2 in, get everybody up and into a rhythm, and then bail if he wants to get himself a draft lap, because if you're going to wait, they're going to wait with you.
So the long out lap we talked about has been burnt up pretty nicely. Now we're not even at full power yet for the opening lap on the green. So, again, this is going to be an interesting development throughout this session. Everybody kind of starting to spool up a little bit here. Not too much yet.
Yeah, it looks like we're picking up the pace. I think everyone's, at this point, settled and given up on trying to back off anymore. If they wait any longer, they're not going to have enough time to build some heat in the tires. Let's look at Turney here. He had an overnight frame swap. Was started on a Kart Republic this week, went to the Alonso Kart for Friday, looked good there. And looking on Thursday, he was certainly missing a little bit to just Ingrata visually. Now, that's a late move from Joe. Whoa, wake-up call in the morning to the 325 machine with a big send down the inside. One of Rawlson Performance Group many drivers. That was Franco Escoto.
Yeah, I don't think he was expecting that move down to the bottom of the apex of turn number 11, that is for sure. But maybe a little sense of urgency there for Turney to get to the inside. Did not want to get blocked up coming out of 11 and 12. Would have lost the run out of turn number 12 as well. As the time, of course, winding away right now. Ingrata has got himself with the hook onto the back of Butcher right now. Those 2 drivers getting away early. I believe Doan the third in that group. No, that's one of the Nash drivers potentially up into the 3rd position on the racetrack there.
That's Blake Nash himself in the 5 plate. Indeed. So Blake Nash and the Nash Motorsports machine.
Yep.
This lap will be our first look at him. Where is he going to go? Into the top 10. Not the quickest, though. In fact, it'll be Oliver Hodgson all the way back in the middle there. Paulie Massimino, quickest in warm-up, 3rd on the opener for him. But James Overbeck's 50.13 is holding station as things stand. Let's take a look back and compare what times were from Friday happy hour to see how much more is there potentially in the tank for the field. Most of them able to break into the mid to high 49s. In fact, yesterday quick time was a 49.7. So based on Friday practice, we've got 4/10 to go. And here we are, Joe Turney, Oliver Hodgson. Hodgson is closing in massively. I wonder if Turney, in that little bit of contact, suffered any damage. The front end of the Kart Republic into the side of the RPG machine. He looks not bad, but he's certainly not Joe Turney level, 10th on the board. This time by, clean lap for him, first of the session. What'll it be? A 49.95 into the top of the board for JT, and the checker's flying midway through.
Yeah, exactly that. I was just going to say, we're going to see that checker in a bit, and we did. Checker flag did fly. Paulie Massimino goes on top now, 49 at 9.24, 300s quicker than Turney. Hodgson third. Jake Drew up into fourth spot. Overbeck still holding on to P5 from the opening group. This is going to be huge for Overbeck. If all this messing around has dropped the number of drivers back still, I think a lot of them, Xander, are still on that fourth lap as that checker came kind of through the group as they came across the line.
Yeah, it's going to be awkward how they score it as to who was the first driver to get it. Hard to tell right now who was the one that didn't get the final lap in. Turney sent it deep there. He's on the back of the 3-2-1 machine, closing in. Last laps across the line. Nash to third. Lawrence better. Turney better. Hodgson better. And it's Turney who holds at the top of the pylon. Joe Turney, MPG Motorsports, welcome back. And a full 1/10 of clearance over Gus Lawrence, Oliver Hodgson, Alexander Vanchev. The rookie continues his star-studded opening season in Pro X30 with a fourth. Massimino. How about Keegan Kaminsky there into sixth? Nico Sarfanti on the last lap as well is going to get promoted to 10th. He barely made it before the checkers. Eric Doan. That is 1, 2, 3 rookies inside the top 10. Sean Butcher all the way down to 9th, and Blake Nash slammed in the 7th spot. And Ingrata, last week's double winner, 11th.
Yeah, a number of drivers outside the top 10. Jake Drew, of course, they're 13th as well. Diego Ramos all the way back in 15th spot, too. So Craig, who looked good in the opening group, ends up in 21st. Still, considering the depth of the field right now for Jake Craig to come back and be essentially the front half of the grid. Great run for him.
And I could see the experience of Jake Craig sneaking a top 10 out here on his first day back, and then he gets another day to go at it tomorrow. They still have the pre-final, of course, to re-rack them for the main event. So for these drivers starting further back, it's far from over. But this is the conclusion, as we get down to it, of our free coverage here as we open the Superkarts USA Pro Tour for those of you joining us. We'll have pre-final action covered here shortly, along with main events, but that's exclusive to KC Premium members. But when it comes to Pro X30, here with Joe Turney on top, James Overbeck from that initial group, still held inside the top 20. I believe he'll be provisionally 16th. We'll see if it gets any better off of the scales and any post-session penalties. Well, you can't rely on any pushbacks accidentally getting deployed in qualifying. Those are gone, and that'll be the reason to watch here of what that might do to the on-track activity for Pro X30, X30 Junior, and KA Master as well. All three will be experimented on here at the opening weekend. See how it goes. Overall, the reason for the decision, Rob, was in tracking all the penalties back at Houston, especially for the Winter Series, but even through the Supernats and Winter Series 1 and 2. Nearly every pushback they stood on and didn't overturn had an accompanying penalty to go along with it from the marshals. So from their point of view, they're catching everything that they would want to penalize. At this point, all that they were doing was overturning accidental pushback deployments, which in fact there were quite a few at the likes of Las Vegas with curbs and barriers that could both knock a bumper in without being near anybody else. We're going to find out what happens to it, though, when they go racing, and of course that's on the other side of this break, folks. All 8 classes are gridded for action, and it took a minute in Pro X30, but it's Joe Turney welcoming back with a wake-up on the opening few laps and a wake-up to the rest of the field.
Ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
You have to fight to pull ahead, to find your edge,